Hello everybody, I hope you're having a wonderful day, and today I got something super exciting to share with you guys. What's in here is something I have been waiting for, and I feel kind of close to it because I helped a little bit. At least I feel like I did. Maybe gave some little bit of nudging in certain directions, but I feel like I got to actually be a part of something, which is really cool. What I'm gonna use to open this up is a prototype from my good buddy Steven Dunnuk. This is the Loki XL by Concept Knives and of course Steven Dunnuk. This is just a very early phase prototype. The hole is going to be different, but we're going to use this to get into this, and it's pretty significant that I'm using this knife because what is in here is also designed by Steven Dunnuk. So some may think that I got this unit for free. There was a plan and an idea to have one sent to me, but Concept decided, nah. So I had to wait for payday, and I got it. So let's go ahead and check it out. Fresh knife smell, new knife smell. Little card right here, just showing some general instructions how to operate said design. Let's get this nonsense out of the way. Typical Concept stuff. You got a little nice little cloth. We got a little pouch here. These pouches are cool, but they're kind of pointless and just gonna go into the trash anyway. This is not my first color choice. If you're seeing this, these have all sold out already. Within the first month that this has been out, they're all gone. Oh man, that is great. Look at this thing right here. So this is my second color choice. I wanted the bronze and black, I think it was. Not the coated blade, but this is the other one that I wanted. So yeah, that's nice. My hands are a little sweaty right now. I don't want to drop this thing just because it is still, I mean, I got respect for factory edges. So I definitely don't want to hurt myself. See if I can give it a twist. Oh, there we go. That was very awkward. Not as fluid as I would like it to be. Got to get my hand around it. Yep, there it is. Huh. Yeah, nice. But yeah, that's it. That's the hazard. I'm super happy to have this thing in hand. While back, I made some content showing off the prototype of this. It was offered in a tanto blade shape. Of course, it is not available. They only made the drop point just because drop point's just gonna sell better. I think it was a good move, but I really hope, and as much as I don't really care for tanto, I know a lot of people out there do. I had told Steven that it'd be a good idea to release it, or at least a small batch of the tanto variation, because people like that kind of stuff. And it was like a really fat tipped American tanto blade shape. It was super cool. The one that he lent me to customize and do stuff with, it was in that blade shape, and it was a beast of a knife. I put a sick edge on it. Not super crazy and refined because it was something that he was going to kick around and just like have fun with and stuff. But yeah, I'm happy to have this thing in hand. For the people that are saying, is this a practical tool? No, it's not a tool. This is knife enthusiast bliss at its finest at this moment in time. And there is not really anything else on the market that's like this, which I think is super special. So there's the bar. A major upgrade from the prototype is that here, you can see it right there, that little ball, that is a ceramic detent ball, and it interacts with a hardened steel face right there that is actually meant to hold it. And so with this thing flop around, if you have it loose, no, it's actually pretty secure. You gotta kick it out, right? There's my finger. You got to get the blade out, and then once the blade is up, it kind of puts pressure towards that way, and it is far more stable when the blade is actually engaged. And as you're gripping the knife, you are pulling down on this. If this doesn't move, neither will the blade. And that's what a lot of people that are seeing this for the first time need to understand, that while this isn't super practical and just solely for utility purposes, this is fun. Like, this is undeniably something that is very, very fun. Now, it being technically a ambidextrous locking mechanism, I should be able, as an ambidextrous individual, should be able to enjoy this right or left-handed. Unfortunately, I can't carry this right or left-handed because there is no space for the pocket clip. The pocket clip that he decided to go with is different than I would have thought. I'm gonna go ahead and try it in the pocket. He did warn me at first that he thinks it may be a little bit sharp here on these corners, but I mean, it doesn't feel sharp. It's a shorty clip. It's not deep carry. You're gonna have that much of the ass end of the knife sticking out. I've seen worse, right? But he told me that it may be a little pinchy. I'm gonna go ahead and try it out. See if I can point you guys down over here. Sick. Okay. Yeah, it's a little tight. These are my work pants. I literally just got off work. Yeah, that's no bueno. That's actually pretty darn tight, but should be a super easy fix. If you look at the ramp and the opening to the pocket, it's short, it's pretty stout. There's not much of like an easier ramp. The easiest thing to do would be to pry the clip a little bit, or if you want to get a little bit more extreme, you could actually file the very tip of the contact point that contacts the actual scale itself. I may do a combination of the two potentially, but as it is, I think that while a milled clip is really cool, it would have been pretty nice to see maybe a wire pocket clip or a bent steel pocket clip. If I can show you, this is his other clip, just a standard folded bent steel clip. This thing is magic, in and out the pocket, like one-handed all freaking day. And but clearly it's very different than how this guy is. If you look at these two side by side, the hazard is actually a smidge bit lengthier than the Loki Proto right here, or the Loki XL Proto. I gotta remember to say that. Let me show you the regular Loki. I have that here in my little box up here. Let's see, there we go. This is the original Loki. Technically the Loki 2 because of the updated blade hole, which thank God the blade hole was changed because it just looks a little bit better, right? Functionally speaking, it was essentially the same. But if you look at the clip design on this, there were a lot of other content creators that gave some crap to this clip. But me personally, all I had to do was just pry it a little bit, and it doesn't actually tap on the titanium. So it's not actually floating above the titanium, but still, one-handed, it has a little bit of drag, a little bit of snag because of the frag texturing on it. But they do offer completely smooth variations if you like that kind of stuff. Unfortunately, there really isn't anything in between. But I think that even his original clip design would have looked good in this, maybe shrunken down a little bit potentially. The easiest, or I suppose the laziest way that I could think of it for adding a clip is just a wire clip, you know, but not everybody cares to have a freaking wire clip on their knife. So let's bring this up a little bit. I am getting a little sweaty because we've been getting a little heat wave. Supposedly we're gonna have like a monsoon, like a mini monsoon come through here, but it was just a humid ass day today. Not a single drop of water around here. Let's go ahead and check out that factory edge. Got some paper. Let's get this out. Freaking beautiful. Kansept does wonderful factory edges. on the more refined side, not super toothy like I prefer, but it's still a really good factory edge. I put these guys' factory edge up with the best of them, honestly. So Kaiser, Miguron, Ramet, you know, they're ones that I gotta mention more often now. Got some cardboard, all right? So pay attention to that. Pretty easy to do, honestly. Like it's a very, very easy motion once you get used to it, right? Beautiful. Ergonomics on this thing are wonderful. I have a trash can over here off to the side. It's still a practical cutting tool. It really is. And I don't feel that this is going to go anywhere. Unless I loosen my grip, then maybe potentially. With the prototype of this that he sent to me, with a completely different locking geometry and surface tension of the faces and the lock, I took that knife and I smacked the absolute shit out of it on the spine, closer back here, close to the tip. Really common failure points for a lot of knives. And, well, maybe not a lot of knives. A failure point for a lot of questionable and new and not so, you know, well-tested locking mechanisms. Spine whacking, it's a common failure point. Look at what happened with this, with the super lock on the Chupacabra that, what their faces did. Yeah, so that thing was slipping like crazy. Also something recently that I reviewed by HX Outdoors, the giant bird. That thing slipped like crazy. I could go like this on my hand and the blade would disengage. It was honestly a mess. I did have a wooden board around here. Let me look for it. Alrighty, I'm back. So this was a show piece that I had on my little booth when I did the sharpening thing at my local gun and range supply store. This was the story behind this. If anybody cares, this is a piece of custom wood that I had finished when I was working doing flooring and things like that. Yes, this is an actual piece of wood that's meant to go down as flooring. But I fell in love with this little section right here. I asked my boss, and it was like a multi-$1,000 order for a house that honestly myself and the next 3 generations would never be able to afford. It was like up by the coast. And so it was a custom order for one of those crazy expensive houses, yes, here in California. And I told him, I was like, can I have that piece? And he was just like, yeah, take it, I don't care. So that's the story behind this thing. But I use this as a cutting platform. So we're gonna go ahead and take this thing, smacking the absolute shit out of it. And check out the damage to the board right there. Pretty significant stuff, right? Really chewed it up. This locking mechanism is solid. I don't want to hear from anybody out there that they think that this thing is unsafe. It's only unsafe if you want it to be unsafe. If you do stupid stuff with a knife like this, then bad things are going to happen, right? So it's loosened up a little bit, but not super worried about it. Locks up just fine. Get a little bit of side to side, a tiny bit of up and down, but something like this is very easy to tune and tighten back up again. I did the same exact testing, even I want to say maybe 5 times as much more abusive testing on the prototype that he had lent me months back in the Tanto, blade shape, and it passed with flying colors, and that was just the prototype. This is far better. And the cherry on top to this whole damn build is that all the hardware on this is T8. There's a lot of hardware, yeah, but it's all T8. Blade material on this, if I didn't mention it already, S35VN. Cool stuff, can't complain. I do want to make a comment that Kansept's starting to mess around with MagnaCut. I could have sworn I've seen 20CV floating around. I think those are cool options. Not saying that I'm tired of S35VN. I've sharpened it plenty of times and have had a good time, you know, using it. But S35VN, that's what's on here. That's what's going to be on here. I don't know if there's ever going to be a budget version of this. If you want to talk about price, something like this, I think they were around 150, 160, something like that, which really isn't bad, especially if you're considering just the base materials alone. This is a lot of titanium, and that backspacer, a portion of this is, yeah, so these ridged pieces, these milled out pieces, those are hardened steel. Those are the faces that you know, see the most amount of friction and impact, so they need to be hardened steel. And then everything else besides the hardware is titanium, which is really cool. So this is also a wonderful platform for customization, and just there's so much to love about this thing. I just think it's so cool, and I'm gonna piss everybody off clicking and clacking this thing all freaking day. The first modification I'm gonna do is to that clip, because the clip is honestly pretty stout. It'd probably be better with like thicker jeans that had a much more I guess firmer pocket seam, but in these like sports slacks that I have, they're paper thin. I mean, anything's gonna make them bend. I'm not giving the pocket clip a pass at all. Honestly, I think that it could have been done a little bit differently, but for what this thing is, I'm really glad to have it. I have a connection to this. Not only the designer is somebody who I consider to be a friend of mine, but also having a little bit of input in the end result of what this thing is, which I think is super cool. So I'm still going to do all my sharpening and testing and carrying this thing. Eventually you'll see some modification and stuff like that, but that is pretty much it. If you like this video, go ahead and leave a like down below. If you are subscribed already, thank you so much. I appreciate all your support and your patience. Of course, if you are not subscribed, please consider subscribing, because I play more videos and content coming your guys this way. With that being said, let's do this one more time. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.